Welcome to our Thursday edition of A Word of Encouragement, and I trust you are encouraged. Did you know that encouragement and peace actually are a way that we can know where we are spiritually? When we don't have peace and we're being thrown, well, that helps us understand we're right at that moment not really trusting the Lord. That's exactly what Colossians chapter 3 says in verse 15. In this passage, it talks about the characteristics of the new man, person who's been saved. And let the peace of God rule in your hearts. The word rule, if you want to put it in modern vernacular, means umpire, referee. In other words, having peace or that kind of a spirit is a way that we can know if we're actually living out the game of life properly. It is an indicator of where we are. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to this which also ye are called in one another, and be thankful. Peace. Peace of God ruling, controlling, indicating if we're out or if we're in as far as our life is concerned spiritually. And as Philippians chapter 4, we so often look at that, it shows whether or not we're controlled by anxiety or if we are controlled by genuine spiritual power, looking at life from a biblical spiritual wisdom perspective. Peace really is an indicator. And you know, the world right now is living in fear. It really is. I was just out with our senior trip, and I was in Arizona, so I was meeting a lot of people, trying to talk to them, and I just was amazed still at the fear and the inability to navigate what's going on. God's people need to be free. They need to have peace in their hearts, knowing God's going to take care of them, knowing that God is working His purposes, that things are not out of control, and that as a believer they have the Spirit of God in them, and that God the Father and God the Son are intimately involved in their life, and that they can count on the fact that every little part of their life is working together for good. And so let me just ask you to measure where you are in your life. How much of the time do you have peace, and how much of the time do you have worry? Is anxiety part of your life? Or is there a deep peace that even in the midst of storms is there peace is in your spirit, not in your emotions. That deep settled confidence in God. How much of the time is it there? If it's not, then that means the Spirit of God is not producing the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace. And we need to yield to Him. So as believers, we need to be an example of the peace of God ruling in our hearts.